Good morning, everybody, and welcome to JWB's Property of the Week. This is a segment I do every single Friday, and I share a property that is currently available at JWB, a turnkey rental property that I believe would make a great addition to your portfolio. And we use it as an opportunity for those who are ready to invest in it. You can reach out to JWB. And for those who aren't ready, but are using this as a trial run, we use this as a learning opportunity. I'm going to walk you through how you should make their decisions to invest in turnkey rental properties, what to look for, and what to watch out for. So we've got a great property here. And I actually reveal this every Thursday, which is yesterday. And I do it on our Not Your Average Investor show. So if you'd like to be the first one to find out every single week, you'll want to join me on the Not Your Average Investor show. You can register at jwbshow.com. And we do it live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30 Eastern. So I hope you'll join me there. But we've got a great property here that I'm going to walk you through. And most of the time when I do these segments on Facebook on Friday, it is a currently available property. But guess what? This one isn't. When I started to pick this one and we did the show yesterday, since then it's actually been put under contract. So a little bit of a bummer on this one for those who thought it was available. That's kind of how it goes. This one is a great learning lesson for everybody, but it's actually been put under contract by a current client. So I'm going to walk through what that client was looking at, what you can look at when you're making this decision. And then hopefully you can join me on the show and be the first to find out next time. So without further ado, what we're going to do is bring you right over to the property here. And I'm going to do a little screen share here. And if for those who have questions, I'm kind of checking out my phone as well so I can see activity in the group right now. And if you have questions, go ahead and fire those in and I'll try to answer them live on our call right now. And thank you to everybody who's taking time out of your day to tune in right now. So here we are for the property of the week, which is the home at 8970 Sandusky Avenue South here in lovely Jacksonville, Florida. So at first glance, what you'll see is this is a new construction home. JWB offers turnkey rental properties that are both new construction and sometimes they're renovations, and we love both. At the end of the day, we're looking for the best risk-adjusted return on investment, and we can get there with either new construction or renovation. This one happens to be new construction, so I'm going to highlight what I love about that. But let's first talk about what you should be looking at every time you want to make a decision on what rental property is the right one for you. I'm going to kind of zoom in here for those of us who need us to zoom in there. So the first thing that you need to be looking at is your return on investment. I always go through this in terms of conventionally financed purchases because that's what the majority of our clients purchase. And being able to get conventional financing right now is a huge advantage because interest rates are so low. We estimate a 4% interest rate, which is just incredibly low for investment properties. And that's one of the things that helps you drive your return on investment. So we're going to produce returns between 9 to 11%. And this one's at a 10.31% return on investment. Now, what does that calculate? That takes into account everything, all of the profit centers except for one profit center. And that one profit center that it does not include is home price appreciation. So we are being ultra conservative with these return estimates. What it does include is all of the rents that are collected, all of the costs, including estimating what your maintenance and vacancy cost will be. It also includes your tax savings and your principal pay down, which are two profit centers that many people forget about. And when you do that, you wind up with a little over a 10.25% return and over $300 a month in a typical monthly cash flow for you. If we come over here, we're going to see some of the numbers on the property here on Sandusky. The purchase price is $235,000. If you see a purchase price of $235,000, you should see a large rent amount, right? Our typical purchase prices are anywhere from about $150,000, and sometimes we get up to $235,000. We can't get up too much higher than $235,000 because the rents won't support it, and ultimately you won't get to that 10% return on investment, or that 9 to 11% is what we're targeting. So in order to see a $235,000 purchase price, it better be related to a large rent amount. And guess what? We have a very large rent amount here, right? $1,724 is what this home will be rented for. And it will be on a 2 or a 3-year lease, not your standard 1-year lease, 2 or a 3-year lease, which is incredibly important for you because a long-term resident is the biggest indicator for success for your rental property investment. So that's why we need to look at return on investment first, right? We're not looking at purchase price first. We're not looking at rent to price ratio first. We're looking at estimated return on investment, because that's a great equalizer, right? That's what's going to take your $235,000 purchase price, make sure you have a large rent amount, right? And ultimately, it's going to take into account other things too: property taxes, insurance costs, right? When you have a $235,000 property, your property taxes are going to be a little bit higher than if you had a $150,000 property. It's just the way it goes. So you've got $4,200 in taxes here that's already been taken into account into that 10.31% return on investment. Your homeowner's insurance is really low. This is one of the benefits of new construction. And so $516 is already quoted for you. That's part of our onboarding process and what we do for clients. We already quote it ahead of time. We already connect you with your insurance provider, and you just simply get to review it and say yes. Down the line here, you won't see any HOA dues, which is wonderful. And your management fees are 10% is what we charge for our monthly management fees. Property management is already included in this investment, meaning we are your property manager. It's not outsourced. You don't have to go and find it, which is a huge, huge win. All right, so one of the teaching moments on this property that I shared in the Not Your Average Investor show was what are the differences in risk when you're an active investor versus a passive investor? So this property that I'm showing is built to be a passive investment for you. So you can live anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, and have little or no real estate experience, have little or no time to do this, and then you can let JWB do everything for you. That's a passive investment. There are those that say, well, why would I do that? Right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about the story of this one on Sandusky. So you'll see some of the risk that is mitigated when you go to a provider like JWB, who takes on a tremendous amount of risk for you. Okay. So for this house on Sandusky, I'm going to show you what the, let's see, I'm going to do the screen share again. Got to do that. There we go. I'm going to show you what this house looks like. Well, let me show you first where it is in Jacksonville. Okay, this is the map of Jacksonville. We love this map of Jacksonville. It shows, you've got the Atlantic Ocean over here. You've got the St. Johns River right here. This is downtown Jacksonville. And all of these blue markers here are all the homes that JWB has sold to our clients over the years. There's over 2,000 properties. And you start to see where we love to be, what neighborhoods in Jacksonville are perfect for your cash flow and will help you grow long-term by being in Jacksonville, and our neighborhoods where I want to manage your home, because there's a lot of those that I don't want to manage your home in and that I won't. So this house on Sandusky is right here in the South Side neighborhood in Jacksonville, one of our 4 key neighborhoods. This is that point right there on Sandusky. But here's the teaching moment on Sandusky. Okay, now I'm zooming into the actual neighborhood, and I would encourage everybody to do Google Street View for those who are living around or outside of the area here. So this is from, let's see here, that's from March of 2019 is when Google last had their picture. So this was well before, right? This is a before picture of the lot. Now, what I showed you for the picture on Sandusky was brand new construction, right? That's what the house looks like now. But this is what the house looked like before. It was a house. It was not a lot. And you can see a dumpster here. JWB owned it at this time. All right, so JWB actually, and I'll stop the screen share. JWB actually purchased this property with the intention of renovating it. And that means that we analyzed it before, we did a scope of work, and we determined that it made the best sense for the end investor and for JWB to keep the house there. That meant that we thought we had a renovation budget that made sense, right? And you got to think in terms of JWB being an expert in this, right? We've bought over 3,000 properties. We've done thousands of scopes of work. We have a team of 80 individuals, and on the construction team, they're all licensed, and we have, a director of construction. I mean, we have an incredible amount of experience. But when you buy a property, there are risks that go along with it. And if you're an active investor, this is the risk that you're taking on. So this property on Sandusky, as I showed you, there was a house on it. And we went in, we did the scope of work. We thought it was going to cost X to renovate it. And guess what? We got in there, we pulled back the floors. We figured out what was going on with the roof after we actually started to remove things, and the budget was blown. the budget was way over. We realized that there was much higher of a renovation cost than we originally anticipated, like a month before when we inspected it. And we're the experts. And this is what happens. So if you're an active investor and this happens to you, you're going to be stuck holding the bag. You might take a loss. If this is your first time getting into rental properties and you try to take this on, you might be out of the game before you even start, which is no good. Now, what JWB did is we looked at this, we realized that, wow, this construction budget is way higher than we expected. We then reanalyzed it and we said, does it make sense for us to knock the house down and build new construction as a way to basically pivot and make the best of this deal? Because ultimately, we paid a lot more for that lot than we wanted to. And that's what we did, because we have the ability to build new construction. Most of you out there have no clue on how to do that, no experience, and you wouldn't have the ability to do that. So we were able to make this a win for the ultimate client, of course, a win for the resident, and it'll still be a win for JWB, but it's a really good lesson for those out there. This is a risk that is real out there if you're an active investor. And when you invest with a reputable company who handles that for you, a turnkey company like JWB, you put the risk on them, right? Your purchase prices do not go up based on the extra maintenance cost or the extra build cost when JWB takes on a project, right? It's always sold to you at market value. So there you go. There's a difference between active and passive. This home on Sandusky, as I mentioned, just sold to a current client, but we have a number of other homes that are just like it. If this is something that you're interested in, I would highly encourage you to reach out to your portfolio manager here at JWB if you're a current client. If you're not yet and you want to talk to my team about a property just like this, go to chatwithjwb.com and you can schedule a time to speak with my team, or drop me a comment here and I'll always respond to you in the Facebook group. Appreciate you all being with me, and I'll talk to you a little bit later in the group. Take care, everybody.